Hello, my name is Winder, and it's time for something a little cool. We're doing another draft league. We're joining another draft league. This time it's a little bit different. Um, we are actually, so we're taking part in the GSC, which a lot of people actually confuse with Gold and Silver Crystal, which actually makes a lot of sense. But no, it's called the Global Serene Cup. It's a Gen 8 Natdex DLC 2 format. To do, from what I understand, and what the doc is telling me, it's Natdex. DLC moves are allowed on essentially Pokemon that are already in the game as of Alabama. So like you can use like Dual Wing Beat Cypher or Scizor or whatever, and that's fine. But no stupid things like Psychic Surge, Expanding Force, Tapu Lele, or Grassy Glide, Tapu Bulu. So nothing, because I think movesets have been leaked, but like we're not allowed to use all of them, and no move 2 moves basically. So yeah, this is good. This is kind of interesting. I was gonna make graphics for it, but I decided I just want to record it, so no graphics. I also didn't even. That's not the right thing. I was. There we go. So yeah, I haven't inputted everything just because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this a little bit more freestyle. So to give you a rundown on what the league is like, I guess I can at least have something interesting to look at. I don't know. To give you an idea on what the league is like, in terms of how it's built. So yeah, it was 11 Pokemon. There's actually 3 leagues. If you cannot tell, I don't script anything, so it's gonna be all over the place. So there's 11 Pokemon draft. There are 12 coaches. There's actually 3 divisions. I'm in Crescent, which is C League, which is the lowest because I'm a new player. As in, like, I'm a new coach to this league, so a lot of this is kind of like we don't know anyone's skills. We don't know how good a lot of people are because 10 of the people in this league are new coaches to this league, and then the 2 returning ones. So yeah. The other 2 higher tier leagues actually have 16 people, which I think makes drafting a lot harder. But with only 12, it means it's a lot less likely you get sniped. But also it means everyone else actually has like good teams, so it makes it interesting. The way drafting works is unlike the UBL that I was taking part of, or I'm still taking part of, where there's tiers of mons. This time there is points for mons. Again, I'm not going to show. I'm not going to show the doc just in case I'm not allowed to. But to give you an idea, so it's instead of like having tiers, you have points for Pokemon. So, for example, you have points for all Pokemon. So it's like they're drafted into point sections, and in those point sections are like how good a Pokemon is in Draft League. So at the top of the spectrum, you have 18-point Pokemon like Tapu Koko, which are notoriously good in Draft League, Celesteela, Darmanitan Galarian form, which was even banned from singles, Earthshoe Single Strike, things like that. At the top of the top. And then all the way at the bottom, you got 1-point Pokemon, things that literally are just going to fall out or round out a team if you kind of go a little bit too hot, top heavy. Things you would very rarely consider using. Things like Charger Bug, and like think like I think there's ZU now, like below PU there's ZU. Think like that. Probably even worse than that, like really bad stuff. Even though there's actually some kind of low-key gems in here, I'm not gonna lie. Like Wishcash is a 1-point Pokemon. Like, that's not bad. Regular Marowak is a 1-point Pokemon. That's not bad. I was actually considering picking up Marshtomp because I actually love Marshtomp. but if I needed to. But with that being said, so to talk about my strategy, this is my first singles draft league in at least 3 years, if not 4. I believe it's 4 years. As a result, I kind of wanted to go with more comfort picks. So my first initial idea was, since Megas are allowed, Megas no Z moves, no Dynamax, less Gigantamax. My initial idea was to go with Megazord X, a Pokemon I'm very comfortable with in Draft League. It was a 17-point Pokemon, and it's pretty good. Like, it can go offensive and just honestly win games. Like, Dragon Dance with this thing just honestly just wins games on its own. And also, I actually quite like defensive Zard decks with, like, Will-O-Wisp and Roost and all that good stuff, because it's actually got pretty good bulk. Like, 111 defense with, like, Will-O-Wisp is actually pretty good. So I actually quite like Zard. And then kind of base things around that. However, no, I did not get sniped. The plan changed dramatically when I found out what position I was in the draft. I was pick 2. Which means in a snake style draft, that meant I picked second, and then because there's 12 coaches, I would have to wait for pick 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and then 12, 11, 10 back all the way back around to me. Which means I would get second pick, but then I would wait 20 Pokemon later for my second pick. And I was like, there is no way I can pick Zard X first. And if my whole plan is to go Zard X, that's not going to work. I have to pick something so valuable that it's likely to go in the first round. So, that's what I did. When I found that out, I changed a lot of my plans, and again, a lot of this was kind of comfort picks. You'll see that as a... Excuse me. You see that as a recurring theme. A lot of these Pokemon I am very comfortable in using, or at least have used somewhat. Despite the first one. So... I wanted something I was comfortable with, but also was very versatile and could potentially carry me games. So that's what I did. My first pick was Dragapult. It's an 18-pointer. My backup for this, if Dragapult was first pick, which it wasn't, it was Tapu Lele that was first pick, was going to be Celesteela. But Dragapult's incredible. It just is. It gets a lot of really solid moves. It can go physical or special. The advantage of going physical, of course, is you have the higher attack, but you have kind of you have a lesser move pool because you're kind of stuck with Dragon Darts, and then like you have to go Phantom Force and U-turn or maybe Psychic Fangs. I don't know. Like its physical coverage is nowhere near as good as its special coverage. Its special coverage, you know, with T-Ball, Surf, Flamethrower, Dragon Ghost coverage is really good, but you have the downside of less special attack. You're only 100 base special attack. But obviously the great thing with Dragapult is its speed. I believe in this format, it is the second fastest Pokemon. The only faster one I can think of is Ninjask, because like, well, I mean, we can have a look, like, can't we? Speed? I guess there's Aerodactyl. I thought literally wasn't always 150. I think I got buffed. I guess a Celegar. I guess I gotta worry about Beedrill and that. I didn't know Zeraora was 1 point faster as well. I guess that's something else to keep in mind. But other than that, like there is a total of 6 Pokemon faster. 7? 7 Pokemon faster than me. And I think genuinely, I don't think Mega Sceptile got drafted, but I know Mega Arrow did? Or maybe that was a different way, because I kind of looked at all the spreadsheets. Regardless. By the way, if you couldn't tell, this is going to be a very long video. So, with not really a lot going on the screen, so feel free to just listen, because I will just be talking about stuff. Regardless, it's extremely fast. And it's also able to hit on both sides, which is something I really wanted. I wanted it to be able to do a lot. Also get stuck a bunch. Not that it needs the speed, but it's fine. As well as good support moves, actually. I didn't realize it got such a good support options. Another thing as well is something that I realized I wanted, which was Settle. Because, sure, a Dragapult is scary, especially when it can run a Life Orb, it can run Specs, it can run Band, it can run a berry. It can run a lot and get away with it. But if you give this thing a Dragon Dance, there's not a lot that switches into this. Dragon Ghost Stab is amazing coverage, and I believe I was thinking about this, and I wanted to double check if this goes like Jolly. 421. Yeah. So yeah, like that one hits 656. What did that be? 631? I don't remember if it rounds up or down. But it says 631. There's nothing in the game that outspeeds that. No way. Because with Dragapult, I anticipate most teams are going to have a Scarfed Answer. And if you get up a Dance, there's no way. The also nice thing is, despite it's not incredible bulk, 88 HP and both 75 in both defenses aren't bad. Because it's so fast, it can actually afford to drop some of that speed and put it in bulk instead. Depending on the matchup, so. Dragapult is a really versatile Pokemon. It also has, like, I mean, Curse Body's okay, but, like, Infiltrator and Clear Body have both versatile usage. If I'm running Special, it's very unlikely I'll actually need Clear Body, so I can actually just run on Infiltrator. But if I'm in a physical one, to prevent Intimidate, Clear Body is always nice. And if I don't expect any stat lowering, you know, Infiltrator is always just good. So yeah. Dragapult was kind of the start. I kind of... When I decided Dragapult, there was also, like... I actually looked up, so was a guide on, like, hey, these are some good Draft League cores. And one of them did include Dragapult, of course. And there was... I kind of figured I wanted something similar to what they suggested anyway, so I kind of went of what... a basis of what they suggested. So... We waited our 20 picks, and neither of the Pokemon I wanted as my second pick were picked. So the call that was suggested was Dragapult plus defensive Dark type plus a Wall Breaker. Funnily enough, the other two tiers, the other two divisions of this league actually picked the backup pick that I was going to pick, which was Mega Mawile. Which, obviously, it's an incredible Pokemon. Mega Mawile is incredible, and it works really well in this core. And thinking about it, it wouldn't have been a bad pick for me either. But I went with a comfort pick. That was what this was, and I wanted to go with something I was more comfortable with. So I went with the other Wall Breaker option of Mega Medicham. Mega Medicham sacrifices the, I guess, it's less of a good type and less good defense for the speed. The speed is real good, and something that this team actually kind of lacks on. Even though Dragapult was first picked, the speed kind of lacks overall. But Medicham's an incredible Pokemon. It hits what, 598, just like jolly on stat, and gets a really nice physical move pool. With priority and bullet punch, dual stab of incredible power, especially high jump kick, 3 for no misses, as well as ways to deal with fairies such as poison jab. Does it get Iron Head as well? No, just poison jab. As well as elemental punches. You have Zen Headbutt. It's also the setup as well. Does it get SD? No, it doesn't get SD. But I have used what's it called? I have used Medicham in the past. I guess bulk up, that's quite nice. I guess I've used Medicham in the past and back in Gen 7 actually. And I actually quite like it. It's something I'm comfortable with using. I at least know that this thing will hit like a truck. And yeah, there's nothing else more to say about it. It was a Wall Breaker that I wanted, and I got it. So the other thing as well is you will notice that already we have a Ghost and an Ice. A Ghost and a Fairy week. Those will be patched up later. But yeah, so this was a 16-point Pokemon, so that's already 34 points down the drain. I don't believe I said it already, but the point cap was 120. So that's 34 points down. That's over a quarter of my points gone on my first 2 picks. So I waited for the first pick to get their double, and then I got my next. Which wasn't the defensive Dark type, but something else. Something else that no matter what strategy, no matter what changed, this was a Pokemon I always wanted. Something I definitely wanted, with looking at how things were, was a Tapu. I wanted a Tapu of some kind, because all 4 Tapus were allowed. Maybe not with any extra moves from Gen 8, but all 4 Tapus were allowed, and all of the Gen 8 terrain setters were allowed. So Rillaboom, both Indeedee, Pincurchin, and Weezing. So that's 9 terrain setters. I felt it was important to survive in the terrain wars that were going to happen. Granted, oh, it's just spoiled what I was picking, wasn't I? I'm picking Finny. Finny is actually my favourite of them. I like the defensive option that it has, as well as it can be offensive, because base 95 special attack Moonblast in misty terrain aren't something to scoff at. So, that's the idea with Finny. There's also the offensive Pokemon that I didn't know how much defense I was going to be able to draft. And it's also like a solid water type. This thing's great. It's a defogger, it does a lot. I just really like Finny. There's nothing more to say really about Finny, other than, like I say, I wanted to participate in terrain control. And with this, I have an ability to. Because I don't want someone to be able to just set up terrain, and then that terrain is what's going to stick for the game. Obviously, terrains only last 5 turns. Singles, 5 turns is a lot less than doubles. But I felt it was important to make sure I could participate in the terrain war. Obviously, being able to just, like, not deal with status is great. Calm Mind is a great setup. Like I said, Defog's really nice. This thing can run defense or offense, honestly. And also, round 1, every single other Tapu went. So after Dragapult went, like I said, Finny was Lele was first pick. Then I got Dragapult, and then, like, I can get up the document for the draft. Third pick was Coco, and then 5th pick was Bulu, and then I grabbed Finny round 3. So that would have been like pick 50. Also, like, Finny was the cheapest. Lele was a 17-point Pokemon, Coco was 18, and Bulu was 16, while Finny was 15. So, and again, I was happy with Finny. I quite like Finny. So that's already a lot spent. That's 49 points spent, but I feel like I've got some strong pieces already. Now we wait 40 more picks, and we get our next Pokemon. And what is our next Pokemon? Remember that defensive Dark type I was talking about? So there is a core that, like I say, the other divisions actually did draft, but they've drafted it with Mega Mawile. I drafted it with Mega Medicham. And looking back, I can see why Mawile might be better, but again, this was a lot of comfort picks, and even though I'm not the most comfortable with this Pokemon, I didn't want to drift away from it. I had such a strong inclination to just go, just screw it, just get Umbreon, Umbreon you know, Umbreon you like. I like, no, I want to, if I pin all of my eggs on Umbreon, because you'll see in a sec with my next pick as well, I felt like it would be kind of difficult. So, I wanted a defensive core of 2 Pokemon. And the first of those is Mandibuzz. Dragapult, Mandibuzz plus Wall Breaker is apparently a pretty common setup. So I was fine with picking this. Overcoat's a great ability, or potentially even weak common if I want to try sweeping. It's a second defogger, yes, but also it's fine. Like, I know I have maybe the most hazard removal out of anyone. So no one's actually getting hazard. But the thing is with Mandibuzz is, I don't know why I'm saying it like that. Mandibuzz is a great defensive Dark type. Like 110 HP, 105 defense, 80 speed, 95 special. It's good. It's good. It's not the most offensive, but it doesn't need to be. Like, knockoff is already good enough. Being able to pivot with U-turn is great. That's the main thing as well. Being able to pivot with this thing is really nice. Again, it's a potential defogger if I need it. I also wanted to make sure I pick up a flying type, because I didn't actually know if I would pick up a flying type, because I didn't think I was picking up Skarmory, and that would probably be my main flying type of choice. I was like, screw it, just grab this, and you'll be fine. So, I could definitely do a lot of... It's a good defensive dark type that actually synergizes with some of the first picks as well. It does mean I have 3 Fairy Roots already, but again, we kind of helped cover that in some of the later picks. So, we're fine. But yeah, it's just a great support Pokemon. And I wanted to make sure I had it. That's as simple as that, really. There's not much else to say about Mandibuzz. I'm looking forward to using it. And kind of seeing what I can do with it. Because again, like, already I have 2 Defoggers, and I can easily cover this. I can easily just pick my Defogger of choice. But as I say, this is not the end of the hazard removal. So, with that, as I was kind of alluding to with Umbreon, I was saying I didn't want to put all my eggs in one basket, and that was because there was another thing that I wanted. No matter what, I wanted to make sure, like, this next pick is the definition of a comfort pick. No matter what, I wanted a defensive fairy type. And we're like, well, you've got Finny. Finny's a defensive fairy type. I wanted a Wish Passer. Florges is a Pokemon I have used in multiple draft leagues in the past, and I have felt extremely comfortable with. Like, beyond comfortable with. I love Florges in draft league, and I cannot tell you why. Actually, no, I can tell you why. It's simple. Wish. It's that simple. I get Wish Teleport is obviously a great thing with Fable, but this was an 11 point pick. Mandibuzz was a 12 pointer. Clefable was 17 points. I didn't have those kinds of points. There's also another defog user, which I didn't realize actually. That's a 3rd defogger. No one's getting hazards to stick against me. But yeah, so I wanted a Wish Passer. And it actually, like, supports Mandibuzz really nicely. But, like, I wanted a solid defensive core, not a single defensive Pokemon in Umbreon. As a result, we kind of have 2 defensive pieces that can work well together, as well as Finny. Like, these 3 actually kind of, like, work well. Excuse me. Oh dear. I've only eaten, like, toast. So, with Florges, it's just a good, like, special wall that I feel very, very comfortable with. The grass coverage is nice, obviously, as well as the fairy coverage. The main thing as well is I wanted something... I wanted another fairy type, obviously, to go with Finny or Misty Surge, so if I need to... I can use a fairy type to abuse the Misty Surge, and I thought Florges wasn't a bad one. I've actually used Carmine Florges in the past, and it's pretty solid. So... but like, both my fairy types can Calm Mind and Sweep if they need to. And I like Florges a lot. I've used it in multiple draft leagues in the past. I might be able to have a quick look, see if I can find some of the old spreadsheets. Maybe? I've used a lot of spreadsheets recently. Open that one, maybe have a look. Yes, that's an old draft league with Florges. Those are a lot of I've used Florges in probably like 3 Gen 6 draft leagues. Because I find it that good. Just because it's like a lower tier fairy that still kind of does a similar job. It's less powerful than, say, Sylveon, but I just value it. I value, like, it I think it's just fine for what it does. So, yeah. We've got a pretty good defensive core, we've got some great offense. So, what do I pick next? I have to wait 20 picks for another Pokemon, because my double was Mandibuzz Florges. It's also a lot of points used at this point. This is 34, then 49, 61, 72 points used on 5 Pokemon. That leaves me with 48 points for the last 6. So, as any sensible person would do, I picked a lower tier Pokemon. But also an extreme comfort pick. Not one I've used in draft. Excuse me while I take a drink. But, honestly, one of my favorite Gen 7 Pokemon competitively. Now, you might think Gen 7 competitive, so it's got to be like, you know, an Ultra Beast or something, or, you know, we've already got a Tapu, so what would it be? It would be Serena. I really like Serena as a competitive Pokemon. I feel like I have to make that extremely clear. Queenly Majesty is a cool ability. More useful in doubles than singles, but hey, I'm not going to complain. Serena was only 8 points, and I really like Serena. 90 on both defenses, 72 HP, not the greatest, but it's certainly not bad. 120 attack, and not the best speed, but like, it's pretty solid. Like, the addition of getting Power Whip in Ultra Sun and Moon really helped it. Knockoff, high jump kick, U-turn, triple axle. That's actually really good, the fact that it gets triple axle. 10 headbutt, yeah, so it gets it gets a lot of great coverage. Acrobatics potentially, I don't know. It's better, like, it's a good Dynamax Pokemon in doubles as well, obviously, because of, you know, Max Flying, which it doesn't get here, which kind of sucks. But, like, for whatever everyone else it gets, as well as Rapid Spin. Rapid Spin is really good, especially with the buff, so it actually you can use this like a pseudo Flame Charge. Also, low kick potentially use you as well. You could use Rapid Spin as a potential Flame Charge, like, move, not just a spin. This is also my 4th hazard removal in a row. Didn't intend for it. But yeah. But Serena's actually it's a solid bulky offense mon. It's also a grass type, which helps with type coverage and actually filling out types. You would think it's a bulky offense mon. However, when I first saw Serena's initial moveset, I saw it and went, oh my god, I love this thing. I'm going to do this with it. So my first thought was Rapid Spin, U-turn. This would start Gen 7, by the way. Synthesis Aromatherapy. And that was my moveset. This was the first Pokemon I built in Gen 7, and I loved it. And I just did this, and I loved this thing to bits. And I cannot tell you how much I loved it. It's incredible. This thing was staring things like Tapu Koko down and going, I do not care. And I loved it so much. Because like I say, it started Gen 7, no tears, so everything was viable. And this was staring down Tapu Koko's in the face and was like, yeah, and? I don't care. So I don't know. Like, after that, I got a really strong appreciation for Serena. I think it's a great Pokemon that can work offensively and defensively. The low speed is honestly the only bad thing, and the fact that it can't go make its special move button isn't nearly as good as its physical. It's a great Pokemon, and I'm really happy to be using Serena. And yes, do not be surprised if you see just defensive Serena. It will happen. I love defensive Serena, but I can also easily go offensive, because this thing can also just come to certain matchups, and with like grass fighting fairy coverage, or like grass fighting ice coverage, or something like that, along with U-turn. This thing's an incredible assault vest user. It's also a good Scarfer, to be honest. Like, it's a low speed Scarfer. Like, what does it hit? Out of pure curiosity. If I was a max speed Scarfer, say jolly. 267. So, the 400s. So it can actually outspeed a lot with a Scarf. Could actually be useful as a Scarfer. Not sure if I'll ever do it, but with the kind of with like pivoting, it's also it's a third U-turn with Dragon Ball. Like, there's a lot of pivoting available already. And yeah, Serena's just great. I think Serena's an incredible Pokemon and a huge value pick at 8 points. So that leaves me with 40 points for 5 Pokemon. We're gonna go to here, just to make sure I can go back and look at them. So, for pick number 7, which was the pair to Serena, I needed Steel. I needed Steel badly. So, I was like, okay, what steel types are left? Because obviously I don't want just an offensive steel type, because, like, I kind of have 3 fairy weeks already. So, and a couple ice weeks. So, yeah, I kind of need some. I have, at this point, I have 3 ice weeks and 3 fairy weeks. I was like, yeah, I need steel badly. And I needed an electric type quite badly. So we got what most people would do is get Magneton, which was an 8-point Pokemon. Reasonable. No, I went Zone. I went straight for Zone. Why did I go Zone? There's a really weird... I don't know if this is correct, but there's a weird part of me that was just like, I want... A lot of the time, like say with Florges, for example. Florges is a Pokemon where I'm like, okay, I'll take the lesser good one to save a couple points here. Yeah, I'll take this over Sylveon. Sylveon was 13 points, this was 11. I was like, I'll take the lesser good one because I get to save a couple points and I still get the kind of the same role that I wanted to play. Zone, I don't know why, but I really wanted this over Magneton. And like, the speed wasn't really something I cared about. I wasn't that bothered about that. I think generally it was the fact that I want to be able to run the Swing Assault Vest and have better special defense than Magneton. Because Swing is body press? News to me. This thing is great. Again, it's a really good Pokemon. It's a scary Pokemon to go up against, actually. If Steel types are an issue, which, granted, like, this thing paired with Mega Medicham is actually scary because you can Magnet Pull a Steel type and then Volt Switch into Mega Medicham. And then nothing wants to take a high jump kick from that thing. Magneton definitely got a lot worse with the removal of the hidden powers. But, we're still hitting with, like, 2 really good stabs in both electric and steel. You cannot complain. The Pokemon's really good. It's bulky, it's offensive, and I needed a steel type, and I also didn't know if I would ever pick up an electric type. Or at least not a good one. So I wanted Zone. I wanted the extra power and the option to have different kinds of bulk. There was also the thing that I desperately did not want to run. I didn't want to grab like a million things that were forced to run Eviolite, because if you do, then it feels like the opponent can just easily run knockoff, and that can, like, if I want to run a bulky Magneton, then one knockoff just ruins it. Whereas this means I can run a bulky Zone if I want to, and not have to worry about that. The worst is I lose an Assault Vest, some lefties, some boots, or whatever. If it gets Teleport? Why? Why do you get Teleport? Whatever. It gets screen support, it gets just some good utility, but obviously this thing is going to be a great switch into a lot of things, and also friend things out. And that is what I wanted. Magneton is a great Pokemon. Not one I've particularly used a lot, but also it's just a great steel type in general, and I'm happy to have it. So, we had another 20 picks, and what was I thinking at this point? This was the point in which, I believe at this point we actually had a break, because we actually had, like, we actually had a break from drafting, so people could, like, sleep and have a think of what they wanted. And so I looked at my team and I realized, okay, what types am I missing? I'm missing Normal. Okay, that's fair enough. Normal's a good type, but not one that's necessary. I'm missing Bug. Nah. Bug's okay, I guess. You know, but not great. There's not many great Bug types. Missing Rock. It's like, okay, Rock's an okay type, if it's actually got a good dual typing, but, you know. You gotta remember I'm not working with many points at this point. I'm working with, I believe, 37? No? 29, I believe. I believe it's 29 points I'm working with. Yeah, because Serena put me down to 40, and then I took an 11 pointer in Magneton. So I put myself down to 29 points, which was like, So yeah, weren't many great rock types that I wanted anyway. But there were 3 types I kind of realized I didn't have that I should probably get a hold of. The first of those that I actually went for, because the first of these I felt like I didn't really have a backup for. The other ones I did have backups for, so I went with this one first. The first one I realized I didn't really have was a poison type. Magnezone's great, but I probably need something else to resist fairies. And while it's not the most great on the special defensive side, its physical defense is pretty good, and I have seen Assault Vest used on this thing to success before, and that is regular Weezing. Regular Weezing is great. First of all, it still actually gets neutralizing gas as a non-Galarian form. As its Galarian form, by the way, was 11 points, this was 6. So this was already a great value pick. Also, the ability to have Levitate means it's only got the one weakness to Psychic. Its stats aren't the greatest, but also that defense is actually really good. This Pokemon, like I say, it's mainly here as a second out to kind of fairies. My backup was going to be Skuntank, which was going to be a lot worse, and Skuntank was actually taken before I even got to pick my Weezing. One of my plans initially was to make sure I had some, like, a core of 4 strong, like, high point Pokemon, a core of, like, 4 middling road Pokemon of, like, 10 to 11 points, and then 3 kind of lower tier Pokemon that were kind of tech picks, depending on the matchup. And Weezing kind of fills one of those roles. It has access to T-Spikes and Willow, as well as pretty good, like, coverage. Like, you can't moan Sludge Bomb, Thunderbolt, Flamethrower / Heat Wave, Dark Pulse, or Shadow Ball. Like, it's pretty solid. So, like, I was happy picking Weezing. It's a Pokemon I quite like, and it actually has a lot of utility. Like, it has its own healing. It's obviously usually a lot more defensive, but it can easily be run offensively as a bulky attacker. Which I feel like, if you haven't noticed, that's kind of been a running theme here. I've picked a lot of bulky attackers. And that is one of the weaknesses of my draft, I understand this. But it also kind of plays into a lot of my playstyle, which is kind of why it ended up that way. A lot of my Pokemon didn't really go for synergies, they kind of went with what I was comfortable with, and I'm quite comfortable with Pokemon that are a little bit versatile, that can go defensive, but also can function as bulky attackers when needed. Which means in return something like speed is sacrificed, and that is one of the downsides. So, something I try to mitigate towards the end here, but you'll see that in a second. But as for Weezing itself, I think it's a great Pokemon. Toxic Spikes at this point is my first form of hazards, which when I'm using Tapu Fini isn't the greatest thing. But other than that, yeah, I do quite like Weezing. It's got a lot it can do, and for a 6-point Pokemon, I was pretty happy with this. So, that's Weezing. Nothing more else to say. It was an extra fairy counter that also really doesn't add any or many weaknesses to the team. It only kind of helps build it more together. And again, I like Weezing, so nothing more to say there. So, one of the other types I realized I was missing was a ground type. I looked at kind of the lower tier ground types and I thought, none of these are worth picking. Like, ground is an incredibly important type. Poison's really good too, but like, kind of less so. But ground's a really important one. Especially when I had no Stealth Rocker at this point. There was nothing on my team that currently said Stealth Rock. So the 8 Pokemon I picked nothing that said Stealth Rock. So okay, I need a ground type that's good. So what is left? So looking through most of the tiers, I kind of looked and I kind of settled on 2. The first one I settled on was Mamoswine. Mamoswine, really strong, ice ground, great coverage, gets Stealth Rocks, does a lot of great things. There's nothing wrong with picking Mamoswine. But I kind of went with a different option. I went with a different 14 point, that's right, 14 points. Even though I only had 29 points total before Weezing, that puts me to 23, I picked a 14-point Pokemon, and I picked Landorus Incarnate. Now, it says illegal there, and not quite true. Certain Pokemon had some abilities, like, redacted, so they could actually be legal, and one of those was to Landorus. So, so no Sheer Force, we just have Sand Force, Landorus. But hey, I'm not going to complain at a Landorus. This turns out to be my third fastest Pokemon overall on my entire team, which is not great. However, it's mixed. It's mixed in offense, so it can go physical or special. Ground, I lose out on the ice type of Mamo, but I also get more speed, which I kind of need. And I know one of my thought process was Landorus Therian, which was a 17-point Pokemon, often it can be ran bulky. I see no reason why I can't do the same with Landorus and Carnage. Granted, it doesn't have Intimidate to help out with that, but if needs be, it can invest in some bulk to make it better. You've also got to remember, it gets Calm Mind, and I'm pretty sure it gets Swords Dance. Yeah. Other than that, it kind of does a lot of similar of what Landorus Therian can do. It's just, this thing gets Defog as well. That might be a previous, I don't know. We'll see. I'll have to double check moves, because like some of the moves it might say illegal or not, because of like transfer and legacy stuff. I'll have to double check. But if so, that's another defog user. I think defog was legal in Gen 7, I guess, since it isn't in Gen 8. Like, I guess since Landorus isn't in Gen 8, it might actually be legal. I don't know. We'll see. But if so, that's a lot of defog. But the thing can hit on either front. It can go physical, special, mixed, can be bulky, and it gets the very important Stealth Rocks, which is incredible. So, that's kind of why Landorus is here. Sure, it's another Ice Week, which was a concern, but I felt like I had enough things like, well, Finnegan's Zone kind of helped mitigate that, and hopefully I can just play to the best of my abilities to mitigate a fairly substantial ice weakness. But I think I can do so. Landorus is a good enough Pokemon where I felt it was worth sacrificing, because it's also a mixed attacker. And I also kind of need that speed, to be honest. So, we made over 20 picks, and we get to the last type of Pokemon that I was missing, that I kind of wanted to make sure I got. And something that I've always kind of felt I could rely on going for a lower tier one of. Granted, the higher tier ones are good, but I kind of always have gone with a lower tier one of these for some reason. That's fire types. Because a lot of the time with a fire type, unless I'm picking literally Arcanine, or I guess Incineroar, because they do very similar things, at least in singles, I usually just wanted to hit things. I'd be a fast, physical, or special attacker, just to make sure I can use that fire offense where need be. So, that's what I did. The option was between Typhlosion, which was a 6-pointer, which I kind of stayed away from because I felt like it was limited to Scarf Eruption, really very little else. Or what I ended up going with, which was Delphox. Delphox, as a result, is actually my second fastest Pokemon outside of Dragon Ball. But I felt like it was actually kind of useful. I actually don't know if Magician is legal, but we'll see. I could do some Magician strats, but very unlikely. Unlike Typhlosion, Delphox actually has some decent utility and some better coverage to actually make it so it can be useful. This thing gets Wish, I can use this as a Wish Passer! Yo, let's go! Uses a defensive fire type with Will-O-Wisp. Do you get a Will-O-Wisp? Yes, you do. I could use you defensively. I am liking this even more than I already did. Honestly, I felt like the bit more speed and the options on coverage, as well as this little thing called a Psychic typing, so I could actually hit things with Psychic moves, kind of helped. It was worth a point, to be honest. So was Dazzling Gleam. Like this thing, okay, so I needed a fire type because I just wanted to hit things with fire typing. I felt like not having a fire type, and then if I go against like a Pharaoh or like a Scizor or an Escavalier or something like that, I don't have a fire type Pokemon, they're very much gonna bring it against me, my opponent, whoever it may be that has those Pokemon. They're gonna very likely bring it. Which, I mean, I can have a quick look actually. Does anyone have those? I mean, I don't know where it would be. So yeah, I knew someone had Pharaoh. I'm positive someone's gonna have at least Scizor or Mega Scizor, because Mega Scizor was an 18-pointer. Speaking of which, almost every 18-pointer got drafted. The only one that didn't was Mega Gallade, and I think most of us don't understand why Mega Gallade is so good, because no one drafted it. I don't understand why it was, like, in the same tier as Coco. I don't get it. Maybe there's something I'm missing. But yeah, someone did draft Mega Scizor, actually. Anyone draft a regular Scizor? Or a Scavalier? I would have considered drafting a Scavalier. Personally. No, I think it's just those two. So there's one Pharaoh and there's one Mega Scizor. That's still pretty solid. But even still, sometimes just having if Fire type's such a good offensive type, that sometimes if your opponent does have the weakness to fire, like they have like 3 or 4 fire weaks, you can just make sure, like, having a fire type in the back is always good. And again, this thing can do a decent amount of things. For some reason this thing gets power up punch, I don't know why. I will never use a physical Delphox, and I genuinely mean that. Like, someone will have taken control of me if I am, for some reason, using physical Delphox. It's not gonna happen. But yeah, I've also just always liked Delphox's Pokemon. It is actually my favorite of the Gen 6 starters. And something I've never used competitively, really. But I'm willing to give it a go and see how it goes. You'll be good, Delphox. I believe in you. If nothing else, you're gonna scarf yourself into, like, Overheat or something, and just nuke something, or Fire Blast. And you'll be fine. If not, you'll probably fine. You'll do something. I can find a way to make you work. And that leaves us with our last pick. Now you might, if you've been counting, we only have 2 points left. I did kind of intend this, but also not really. I actually intended to only have 1 point left and actually pick Marshtomp as a meme, because I could actually genuinely see myself bringing Marshtomp to games. However, I actually have 2 points left over. And I looked at the 2 pointers, and there was actually 2 different 2-point Pokemon that I actually saw that I would consider. One of them was Smeargle, but Smeargle actually got drafted a little bit earlier than I was going for my last pick. Let me have a look. Pretty easy to see because it'll be the only 2-pointer on the entire draft. Yeah, so it got drafted coming back to me just as I was about to pick Delphox. Like, it was like 5 picks before me. Actually, a lot more. It was like 7 picks before me. Before I actually got a chance to pick it. Smeargle, I think, could have been good just as a hazard setter, honestly. Set hazards and then, like, teleport out. Spore sets SR or hazards or whatever, spikes or something. And dip. Or just die, or Healing Wish or whatever. But it got sniped. The other one, I kind of alluded to a little bit earlier. Remember how I said I like Arcanine because it's a defensive fire type? Obviously it can be offensive as well, same with Incineroar. But there's also Torracat. This thing gets faster than I expected it to be. You're fast as... Yeah, you're actually really fast. Dang. Here's the deal. It's mini Incineroar. It's actually, like, not bad in VGC. But it's mini Incineroar. It gets Parting Shot, it gets Will-O-Wisp, it gets U-Turn, it's a defensive fire type, and it's my only Intimidate. And for 2 points, I will take that. I honestly thought it had a little bit more defense than that, but I'll take it. It's not the worst thing on the planet. I think out of the 2 pointers, this is probably the best thing there is. And I'm down to just burn things. Obviously, I've got to be careful with trying to stats things with Misty Terrain rolling around, but yeah. I am down to give this little guy a go, and if not, we can figure something out. We've got 1, 2, 3... There's 3 Pivoters there, and then another 3 here. So I have 6. I have 5 U-Turners and a Volt Switcher. So I have pivot ability for days. So yeah, that is the draft. That is what we are rocking, and I'm quite excited. The draft hasn't actually technically finished, and there is a 24-hour window once the draft does technically finish. I've just finished with all my picks. So there is a grace window to kind of make any like emergency switches if you need to before the draft actually starts, which I don't think I'm going to be honest. I am actually quite happy with the team. I think if there was any changes that needed to happen, they need to be very drastic. As in, like, I need to swap out, like, 3 or 4 Pokemon. And I don't think I'll be able to do that. So, I kind of went with my strategy. It worked out. Nothing got really sniped. I just think I could have drafted it better. I think it could have been better overall. I'm just not sure. I think I prioritized some things a little bit too much and kind of didn't give enough credit to some other things. Like, I don't... Landorus is my only rockers, I think, is a weakness. Like, Az is a weakness on my team, and I think my speed is one as well. I didn't really consider how fast things were. That being said, at the worst, I have Pult. And Pult's just going to outspeed everything, and that's just going to be the dream. Other than that, it's just going to be... It's going to be Scarf Wars, honestly. Like, because things are going to come to try and Scarf against Pult, and then I've got to try and Scarf other things, and it's going to be a mess. Pult is a central piece to this team, and I'm hoping that it can really show why it's such a good Pokemon. I'm hoping to make some of these OM members shine as well. I know, obviously, like, these first 4 are actually pretty solid core, but I think I can make these other Pokemon shine and really make this team work. If not, well, I obviously know as well, like, swapping picks out for certain matchups is important, but also I'm not that comfortable with it yet. So, we'll see how we do. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you are looking forward to week 1 of this. I don't know when week 1 will be. It will probably be, like... This is probably going up either Monday or Tuesday, and I'm recording it Sunday. So it might be going up next week. It might be starting next week, would be my guess. So, like, the 13th or 4th, like 13th maybe? Not 13th, yeah, 14th, which would be a Monday, yeah. I'm guessing it would be starting that week. But we'll see. So, do look forward to it. But my name has been Winder. It is Winder. I will be your coach of the Everton Espeons, which I might change if I do season 2 of this. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Or another season. I don't know what season of this is, but whatever. I know there's at least been one other season of it, which might have just been a season 0. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to playing this. It's a lot of kind of new-ish territory. Obviously, I've done singles draft before, but not in years. So I hope you'll enjoy my journey. It's going to be 10 weeks, I believe, and yeah. Other than that, I don't think I've got anything else to say. I think I've got everything out of the, out in the clear that I want to, and with that, I am going to leave you with everything I've just said. So thank you very much for watching or listening, and do hope you all have a good day. So, there's something else we need to discuss. So, I was going to end the video there, but there's a slight thing. So, I just got back from work, and there was actually a draft analysis posted. One of all the drafts. Which included mine. So, so someone gave kind of a review, of their opinion of the draft, of each draft in this league. I'll just see if I can at least sample my bit, just to give you an idea. Where is it? There it is. Just so you can see where I'm coming from. So, just double check that this is viewed on capture. Yeah. So, if I open a doc here. This was what was said about my draft. So, this one seems overall pretty good. Mega Mini is a tried and true wall breaker, and with mighty zone to wipe out its deals, you encounter. Dragon Ball is really poised to clean up the opponents here. Teams here, which is very good at. Not a huge fan of Tapu Fini, but that's a personal opinion. I am a personal fan of Tapu Fini. The biggest thing I'd like to see is another Stealth Fox here, maybe in place of Delphox. Drudigan, Fortress, and Steelix are all good options in this point range. So I took this into account, and I thought about it, and I was like, okay, yeah, I do agree. Another Stealth Rocket would be nice. Dropping my Fire type for it would kinda suck. But I have Torracat. So, I gave it a little bit of thought, granted not a lot of thought to be honest. I was like, yeah, no, I would rather have another Stealth Rocket if possible. And these are all 7 pointers that could replace Delphox. So I had to think about it. I thought, first I looked at Drudigan. I looked at Drudigan and I went, okay, so what does this do for me? Basically, I was immediately put off by the speed, to be honest. It can be bulky and offensive, but honestly, I'm just not a fan of Drudigan. Every time I've used Drudigan, it's just been underwhelming to me. And I can't tell you why. I just feel like it just... I don't know why. But, like, this thing has always just been weirdly underwhelming to me, and I can't tell you why. So, Drudigan kind of went out of the question pretty quickly. So, that left the other two options, between Steelix and Fortress. Not Item Fortress. So, I looked at the two, and, so Steelix is actually in-game, which is interesting. It does get the Iron Defense Body Press combo, which is really nice. Especially with Steelix's insanely good special defense, and having a second ground type and a second steel type is not bad. Both of these would give me a second steel type, so it's not bad at all. Its stats are good in general. It's slow, yes, but I think the defense kind of makes up for it. You can switch this thing into physical attackers very reliably, and either potentially do some good damage or set up rocks, which is kind of the point here. It's a Pokemon that would set up rocks and be potentially threatening with like Iron Defense Body Press. It's simple, right? Just get Dragon Dance, which is interesting, but I can't see myself ever using a Dragon Dance Steelix. However, the other option, Fortress, also gets Iron Defense Body Press. It's not currently in the game, so kind of had to look this one up a little bit more, but this does actually get Iron Defense Body Press. It also gets Spikes, which is something I kind of wanted. I realized there are going to be situations where I easily can run a spinner, if Fortress is especially one of them, and set up Spikes, and as soon as my opponent's hazards are down, I can definitely whittle things down to make it so that, like, Mega Medi and Pull can sweep. The other thing, and honestly the defining factor, if you notice with my draft, we kind of talked about this earlier for you, not so early for me. This gets U-turn. This gets U-turn. This gets U-turn. And this gets Volt Switch. And this gets U-turn. And this gets U-turn. I like pivoting, funnily enough. And Fortress gets Volt Switch. So that was it. That was the decider. I didn't want to have to force myself to stay in with something like Fortress. It's not as good defense, and honestly probably not as good stats in general. Still, its stats look better overall. Same HP, but a little bit less attack, a little bit less special attack, a little bit more special defense, a little bit less speed. More attack here, but like the defense drop is massive. But honestly, like, the ability to spin and Volt Switch is really powerful. This also technically gives me a bug type, and doesn't... It gives me a bug type, but either one of these would give me a fairy resist, which I would be losing with Delphox, but we still keep with having an extra steel type. It also gives me another ice resist, which again, I would be losing with Delphox. So, this is another way to spin, less so of a reason to run spin, because again, I have a million defoggers, but, like, it also means that, I don't know, Fortress here just feels a bit more home. So, even though I said I wasn't really going to change anything, I kind of went back on my word after, you know, people that actually know what they're doing in Draft League kind of looked at my team and went, it's a pretty solid team, don't get me wrong, like, like, Mega Medi Zone is going to clean up any fighting types in existence, and Pult can really make use of, like, just clean up here very, very easily. As soon as things are worn down, Pult can come in and clean up, as you kind of saw with this. But it needs a bit more hazards to really get use of that. It needs another Stealth Rocket that isn't just Landorus. Landorus I, which is not exactly the bulkiest Pokemon at times. Again, he says he's not a fan of Tapu Fini. I like Tapu Fini, and I also wanted to make sure I participate in the terrain wars. So that's kind of why it is here. There were potentially over 15-point options that I could have gone with, honestly. Yeah, maybe Finny will get swapped out. Maybe it's not needed. But for now, I'm pretty happy with it, unless it starts letting me down. And if it starts letting me down, then I'll swap it out. There are a few other 15-point Pokemon that I could easily see myself picking up. There's not many left, mind you. But as of right now, Gengar's available, which is not bad. Hooper Unbound is available, which is not bad. Kartana's available, which I actually am a very big fan of. T-Tar's available, and Volcarona are available. The other ones are Megas, which I wouldn't be picking. I could also drop Torracat and grab a 60-point pointer. I think I'm allowed to do that. I'm not quite sure. I'd have to double check if I'm allowed to do that. Drop Torracat for a 1-point Pokemon because Torracat's 2 points, and then I technically have a point spare. So I'm not sure if that's something I'm allowed to do, but if I am, then I may consider that. Also, funnily enough, as with trading happening, now every single 18-point Pokemon is gone. So yeah. That's kind of the update that I want to attack on to the end of this. Other than that, that is going to be swapping out Delphox as like the first thing, and we're adding in Fortress. So double check it actually, like, yeah, it's gone through. So yeah, that is now our team. We have now got Fortress instead of Delphox, and hopefully we can make use of that. Other than that, I will see you guys for the first battle. I don't know when it's going to be still, but I do hope you are looking forward to it as much as I am, because I'm very excited for this. So I'll see you guys later. Peace.